Good evening, everyone. I welcome all of you to the seventh Conversations in the series of conversations being held to celebrate Sparrow's Silver Jubilee year in collaboration with Research Center for Women's Studies, SNDT. I'm glad to inform all of you that the Sparrow's Conversations program is being received very well. Thank you, all of you. Sparrow has completed 25 years. It is a matter of great joy and pride. It has been a great journey and also an extraordinary one, which has taken us through many rough roads and what we sometimes felt were dead ends. But that wasn't the end. This celebration is about how we have managed to make this journey successful despite so many obstacles. Please do enroll yourself in the Sparrow Tour to see and experience Sparrow's vast collection of books, oral history recordings, print visuals, photographs, newspaper cuttings, films, posters, and various such publications. Some of the publications are displayed here. Please do have a look. So let's begin today's Conversations program. Today, Dr. C.S. Lakshmi will be talking to Pudhiya Madhvi and Vimi Sadarangani. Dr. C.S. Lakshmi is a Tamil writer and is currently the director of Sparrow. Pudhiya Madhvi is a Tamil poet, short story writer, essayist, and a blogger whose blogs are followed by many people. Let's have a look of some of the interesting photographs from Pudhiya Madhvi's album. Vimi Sadarangani is an associate professor of Sindhi in the Department of Sindhi at Tolani Arts and Science College in Kutch, and a Sindhi writer whose poems and works have brought her a lot of attention and recognition. Let us see some photographs from her album. Looking at all these photographs and achievements, I'm sure we all want to know much more about Pudhiya Madhavi and Vimi Sadarangani. I now invite Dr. C.S. Lakshmi to please come on stage and start the conversation between Pudhiya Madhavi and Vimi Sadarangani to take us into the world of women and expression in two different languages.
Pudhiya Madhavi and Vimi, it's a great pleasure to be with both of you. I've known Vimi for the last 4 or 5 years, and Pudhiya Madhavi I know through her writings, but for the last 2 years we have been in touch. And I've been following all that both of you write, and I'm very eagerly looking forward to this conversation, because it's going to tell me a lot more about you and your writing. Pudhiya Madhavi, I would like to start with you. I will call you Pudhiya Madhavi first. Afterwards, I'll call you only Madhavi because it's too long.
No problem.
Your name is Mallika.
Yes.
How come your pen name is Pudhiya Madhavi? I know the Shilapadikaram connection.
Yeah,
Shilapadikaram is a Tamil epic.
Epic,
But
yeah.
I don't think others will know. So can you tell me why you chose this pen name?
When I first came to know about the Silapadiharam, that epic story, the story is there is Kovalan and there are 2 heroines. One is Kannagi, that's Kovalan's wife. And he is in love with a dancer girl, and she is from the prostitute family. Her name is Madhavi. That was the epic. And all that is in that story. But actually in the story end is what, this Madhavi, she left the family. She left that Devadasi, what's the rituals, all traditions, she left all that. And she is joined into Buddha Bhikkhu with her. That is so inspired me when I was doing my 6th standard.
6th standard?
Yeah,
Wow.
because that's the time I came to know about the story, Silapadigaram story. So it's so funny, the 6th standard girl, I wrote a short story. So this happened in that age. The short story name is Pudhiya Madhavi.
The name or title of the
Title of the short story is Pudhiya Madhavi. In that story, the same thing is happening. This girl is falling in love with a man, but this girl, she didn't know that man is already married. But when she came to know the man is married, she is telling, no, I don't want to marry you, but I am in love with you always. That was the story is ending. So my daddy have many friends in the political background. So I used to give this Pudhiya Madhavi story. That time there is no Xerox copy, no other things. I used to write every day, many copies handwritten. I used to give the story to all my daddy's friends. One of that friend started the magazine at Mumbai. When I started writing in that magazine, I told him I don't want to write in my real name. He just put Pudhiya Madhavi.
He gave the name.
He chose that Pudhiya Madhavi. Then afterwards, people were started asking me, why you choose this name? And that is okay. Why you choose this name is okay. Why not other name? Kannagi. Kannagi. Why you choose Pudhiya Madhavi? Why Madhavi? That itself makes me, I have to continue with this name. No, nothing doing.
It's a kind of a
Yeah.
Why should you be?
Why I should use that name? But then afterwards, I'm thinking the character is, she is the first woman in the full Tamil society who is coming out of the family circle, and she is entering into the social work.
Yeah.
She is the first woman. Okay. That impressed me. And another meaning is, actually we know Madhavi means Kotravai.
Yeah.
And another meaning, Madhavi is a creeper. That creeper can grow in any place, in any weather condition. That is another meaning of Madhavi, which has really impressed me. So I continue with that pen name. That's what happened.
Madhavi, that's very interesting, but I have to ask one question out of curiosity.
Sure.
See, you mention your father's name as P.S. Vallinayakam. And in another book, you mention your Rajitaba's name, your paternal uncle, P.S. Govindasamy Seth.
Yeah.
Then you even mention your grandmother's name, Amravati Subaya. But I've not seen your mother's name anywhere. How come? Maybe I've missed. I don't know your mother's name. That is one thing. Another thing is, I want to know how come your Rajitabai Seth, Govindasamy Seth. I want to know.
Yeah. First thing, I'm coming into the mother. I think you have missed out. My first essay book is Sira Hasekkum Kilikundugal.
The first essay
book, which is dedicated to my mother. And I wrote about my mother in that. One or two articles. You know?
So what's her name?
Her name is Vadivamma. Vadivamma is her name. How much I am impressed with my father, equally I am impressed with my mother. Okay, so there is no difference like that. But okay, but there are, because I am talking about more social issues, many times I have to mention my daddy, comparing with my daddy. That is because of that it's happening. Yeah. Otherwise, there is no difference. I am always very fond of my mother, giving more importance to mother also. And this Govindasamy Seth, I am coming back. There is a custom in Mumbai Tamil society. If they were doing any business, these Tamil people used to call them Seth.
Oh, if they do business, is it?
Business. Business, not only the business, if they have the manpower, little bit dadagiri, okay? Okay? If they have everything, the people used to call them Seth. My Chitapa, my uncle, he is one among that category. So they used to call, he was doing his leather business, plus laundry business, and he has some product of toothpaste, toothbrush and all that. He was doing many other things.
So he was a businessman.
Business person. So people used to call him Govindasamy Seth.
Oh,
it's
and
not,
it became his surname.
Yeah, they call him Seth only. You know, they never call him with a name. You know, that's a dignity problem. So they call him Seth. But that is the custom still going on in Tamil society, especially in Dharavi and Vadala.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, that is the custom still going on.
That is those who do business of
Yeah, especially tannery business, liquor business. That's what I said, that word. That again. They have the manpower. So people, all that people, they call them Seth. So when I just said Govindasamy, people don't realize whom I am mentioning.
You have to say Seth.
So I have to mention Govindasamy Seth. It's that way.
From poems and your stories and that I've read, I have an impression of all the years of growing up you have done in Bombay. It's very clear in many of your poems especially. Yeah. Can you tell me about growing up years where you lived in Bombay and other things? And another thing is that your father was an ardent follower of Periyar, of the self-respect movement. So the atmosphere in your house must have been very political, which is reflected in your writings also. Yeah. So can you tell me about those years you grew up?
Yeah. Truly speaking, I am the fourth generation of Tamil person in Mumbai. Okay. Our forefathers, they lived in Mumbai only.
In Mumbai?
Mumbai, especially in Dharavi.
In Dharavi.
Okay. My father was also in Dharavi. Only our generation, we left from the Dharavi.
That means your great-grandfather.
My father's grandfather has come. Okay. How they have come? Once we came to know the history, the south side, there is no rain. It was so bad in that conditions. They have migrated to Mumbai. And my daddy's grandpa, okay, he was doing that leather business.
Leather business.
For doing that leather business, they want labor workers.
Yeah.
So they brought the labor workers from Tirunelveli district.
Oh,
okay. And this this business, they have to do with a collaboration with Muslim community.
Okay.
So the labor workers brought from Vaniyambadi also.
Okay.
So these two labor workers, my daddy's grandpa, he is the first person to open a school for these children, for the labor workers in the history of Mumbai. Okay, he is the first person who opened the school. That school is now become a Mumbai Maharashtra Municipal Corporation Tamil School.
Oh, it was started by him.
Started by him. Okay. So that background is there. But after all this, when my daddy's spirit comes, he was more impressed with Periyar. Then once Arinyar Anna, when they have separated from Periyar and they started DMK, my daddy also started DMK the same time in Mumbai.
Okay.
Okay, he is more attached with Arinyar Anna Thurai, and he is one of the very close to brother of Arinyar Anna Thurai. So in my house, always there will be a guest. And truly speaking, it's a guest house of Dravidian movement.
Oh, really?
Dravidian.
And you
And
said somewhere...
M.G. Ramachandran, Murasali Maran, okay, all that people are that C.P. Sitteras, many people. Everybody have come to our house.
You said somewhere that your father never began a day without reading a Tamil newspaper.
Yeah, that is all the Tamil, that times this Dravidian movement, I have to say that they have 80 magazines published at that period. All the 80 magazines we have in
your house.
house. So all these discussions and friends and going on. My dad, Papa, he doesn't know what we were studying, what we were doing.
And all these generations kept up Tamil, that means they kept up Tamil language.
Language.
Yeah.
They kept up Tamil language. And he is so fond of Bharati Dasan also. We have 6 sisters and only one brother.
Yeah.
My brother's name is Subbaratinam. That's the real name of Bharati Dasan. Okay, he is so fond of him also. So that is why that all that political things, somewhat it comes into my writing. My view always doing that. I always criticize, I accept Dravidian thoughts. Sometimes I criticize them also. The Dravidian politics I criticize. I accept the Dravidian movement, All that because of this background I feel, that is the thing is going on in my house.
From your father, I feel, because there are not many within the movement who would like to criticize it. But you are...
No, the thing is, the criticism is come to me. There's one very interesting thing I want to say. I have to mention in this. When I was doing my MA, the Parvati Bai BA, which is written by Arinyar Anna Thurai, his novel, it was a subject to us in our MA. When my first semester is completed, I came to Mumbai. I am the only child who used to talk with my papa, all that books and the politics, all the other things. And we have a very good discussions. And that time I was reading Lasara, Janaki Raman, and Neelavatmanathan, Talemurigal, Pallikondapuram, all that I started reading it. So my views were changed really. As a literature student, my views changed. So I told my daddy, this Parvati Bai BA is not up to level of literature, It's not a good novel, daddy. He was so angry.
Your father.
How dare you can say this? You are become so great or what to criticize Arinyar Anna? From that day onwards, Ambai, our discussion table is closed.
Oh, with your father?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I saw that hero worship of him, which I couldn't tolerate.
Yeah, because he has spoken against hero worship.
Because that's irritated me. In that age, even I should have compromised with my daddy and I should have talked. But my age, no, I am not ready to talk. How dare he is not ready to hear what I'm trying to say. Why I'm criticizing Parvati Bai BA, he is not ready to listen also. What type of hero worship this is, I don't understand. So this is my daddy's another face. I realized. Even though he is so intelligent, he has many backgrounds, but they have that. They are not ready to accept any criticism, and that is still today also with this movement under politicians.
Yeah, that hero worship is there.
It's just there.
You said that the very first thing you wrote was that story when you
Short
were in
story.
6th standard. Which was the very first poem you wrote?
The poems I wrote when I was in college.
In college. That is when you were doing your MA?
BA.
BA.
BA. Okay.
BA also you did Tamil, is it?
Yeah, I did. In Sarah Tucker College, I did. It was in Palayamkottai. There we start to write poems. Okay. The atmosphere is like that.
Within that, between the school and college, you had not written anything.
No, I used to write the small stories and all. We used to send to Ambuli Mama.
Okay.
That is the main thing, main short stories, party kadaigal and Kuyil kadaigal. When I read Bharatidasan Kuyil Pattu, so I started writing Kuyil kadaigal. All that, all that we used to write.
Yeah.
It published also.
Yeah.
It's published also. That I write Nelle Mallika.
Nelle Mallika.
When I was
that.
small stories.
Maybe you were born in Ajmer, but I know that your parents came to India after partition. Can you tell us about what they've told you about Sindh before they came to India? What were their memories? Your mother may have been a young person then. And also, what was your relationship with your parents, especially your mother?
My parents were very younger at the time of partition. Both were born in 1940 actually.
Okay.
So at the time of partition, they both were 7 years old.
Yeah.
And I came to know about this partition first through textbooks only.
Okay.
So my parents' family actually migrated in 1948 from Sindh. My father's family went to Ajmer and my mother's family settled in Jaipur. My father was in railway and coincidentally they met in Adipur through another relative and they got married at that time in 1970.
So what you came to know about Sindh is through maybe books?
Yeah, first from books and then from my grandfather, my Nana.
Okay.
And my mother's grandmother was alive at that time.
Okay.
So that was I was very fortunate in that sense that I met her. And for me, whatever they shared, for me, those were the stories only.
Okay.
That was fiction for me, not the reality. Once I was given a form in my school and there was a column to write down your native place.
Yeah.
I wrote Ajmer because that was my birthplace. My mother told me to write down Hyderabad. And that time I asked her, why Hyderabad? She told me we are from Hyderabad, so we should write Hyderabad. I asked her, so is that your birthplace? She told me yes. So again, next question was ready. So are we from South India? She told me no, we are from Hyderabad, Sindh. So in class 7, I came to know that there are 2 Hyderabaads, one in South India and one is in Sindh. And that actually created a curiosity in my mind and I wished to know more about my parents' motherland, that is also my motherland.
Yeah.
And then I started spending more time with my grandfather, who told me about their house, the street, the school, their friends, my Nana actually. Yeah.
That's interesting. But what kind of relationship did you have with your parents then?
Yeah, that was really a wonderful relationship. My father was an angry young man and very disciplined, an honest person, but very angry. And my mother was very calm, sweet, like a magician who can turn tears into smile. And yeah. And Like every mother, she was also a wonderful mother for me.
But what was your father angry about?
I don't know. Maybe he spent much time in railways and at roadside stations.
Okay.
So maybe that was the reason that he was very hyper. But again, I am very thankful to him because he gave me every opportunity for my higher studies. He was very fond of books actually, not my mother. So he was the one who would bought many books for me. My mother sometimes would ask him, "You do not give money for home to spend, but you always buy books for Vimy." And he would say, let her read whatever she wished to read. And my mother would let me study anytime. She will not disturb me. She would never tell me to help her in the kitchen actually. So I was really a blessed child.
So, when did you start studying Sindhi? Was it easy to study Sindhi?
Actually, I studied in a Hindi medium school, and my first language was also Hindi there. When I was in class 8th, a writer named Lakshmi Khilani, he visited our school in a program, and he gave a speech on importance of mother tongue. And then in the end, he asked us students, "Now tell me, who is going to offer Sindhi subject from tomorrow?"
Oh, really?
Yeah. And we were 3 students who raised our hands, and we changed our subject from Hindi to Sindhi on that day.
Oh, the second language.
As first language,
As first
actually.
language.
Yeah. First, that was a bit difficult. But my school was Devanagari medium school, Hindi medium. So I was already known to Devanagari, and it was a bit easy for me to get acquainted with Devanagari script in Sindhi.
No, you didn't use the Persian script.
No, I learned that after my graduation.
Okay.
Actually, yeah.
So initially you were writing
In Devanagari only.
What about home? Did you speak in Sindhi at all?
Yeah. My father was not used to speak in Sindhi actually, and he would mess up everything. And my mom was used to tease him, remembering a small incident. After marriage, he told my mother, "Mukhe vaణio de." Give me vaణio. Vaణio means business person, businessman.
Okay.
And what he wanted to ask was vihano. That is a pillow.
Pillow.
Yeah. So he was trying to
Ask for a pillow, but he asked for a pillow.
Yeah. So, but my mother was the main person in home who was used to speak in Sindhi, and I got my Sindhi from my mother only, and I got
To read and
yeah.
write.
But she also learned through letters only, because her elder brother was settled in Hong Kong. After partition, Sindhis were scattered all over.
Yeah.
The family was broken actually. The elder brother or sister were forced, or they had no option, in fact, actually. So when my mama, my mother's elder brother, was used to send them letters in Sindhi, they started learning Sindhi script through those letters. So there were so many mistakes. They were not aware about the dots, 1 dot or 2 dot, 2 simultaneous dots above the line or below the line. So my mother wished me to learn Sindhi script, and she took me to Indian Institute of Sindhology, which is an organization for Sindhi language. I attended a 10-day course there and then practiced that actually.
But you were talking about this writer who came to your school.
Yeah.
So which place was the school? Where were you studying?
Yeah, actually, we live in Adipur.
Oh, you
Adipur,
live in
yeah.
Adipur.
Adipur is really a special city, I can say, because generally cities are developed, but this city was established. For Sindhis. For Sindhis, actually. About 14 lakh Sindhis, Hindus migrated at that time, and there was no land in India for them. All over, they were called refugees. There was a business person, Bhai Pratap, who saw this dream to resettle Sindhis. He met Mahatma Gandhi and Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. They both met Maharao of Kutch, and he generously gave so much land to resettle Sindhis there.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
That's a very
Yeah.
good story.
Yeah.
So, earlier you said your parents met in Adipur.
Yeah.
So, it was all this happened
Yeah.
in Adipur.
Yeah.
So, when did you start writing in Sindhi? I mean, stories and other things. And in one of your poems, you mentioned Shah and Sami
Yeah.
and such. And I know
Yeah.
that they are Sufi poets.
Yeah.
But what kind of literature did you read to be inspired to write in Sindhi?
Yeah. I started writing in class 7 actually, but not by my wish. Once there was a competition and I was told to write a poem on patriotism. Yeah, on 26th January. So I started writing from that age, but those were not the poems. Those were the words written on given theme.
Yeah.
And somehow, after 2-3 years, when I was in class 11 or 12, I started writing in my notebooks and in my diary without knowing that these are the poems actually.
So you kept
So-
a diary.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what did you write in the diary? And anyway, where is that diary? I want to know. Because I want to have it in Sparrow.
I don't remember where is that actually,
But
because
what did you write?
because once my father saw that, and really I don't remember where I kept that after that. So that was not only hidden from others, that was hidden from me also.